Heartwarming twist. Arrogant hostess discovered the incredible truth about the black CEO she expects to dismiss. Jenna stood at her impeccably landscaped lawn, the sun casting golden light on the perfect afternoon. Dressed in a designer gown that hugged her curves just right, she smiled as her guests filtered in, each more glamorous than the last. This soirée was her crown jewel, her declaration of supremacy in the upscale Minnesota suburb. Yet, beneath her bravado, a nerve twitched as she watched Malik, the local charity's new CEO, make his entrance. He looked strong and confident, yet Jenna's sharp eyes dismissed him. He didn't belong in her world, among her elite friends. As Malik stepped into the extravagant space filled with laughter and the soft tinkle of crystal glasses, he felt the weight of judgment from those sipping champagne, their whispers a cacophony of doubt. Jenna stood smugly at the center, the perfect host, but a storm brewed just beneath her surface. She caught her sister's eye, who wore a look of quiet disapproval, knowing Jenna's branding of success often overlaid humanity. "Isn't it charming to see Malik here?" a guest mused, eyebrows raised as Jenna turned to answer with a practiced smile. "Charming is one word for it," she muttered under her breath, bitterness tinging her words. The party swirled around them, but Jenna's attention divided between the guests and Malik's presence. He stood with a group of curious onlookers, telling stories about his upbringing in a challenging neighborhood. A hint of empathy flickered in her, yet she extinguished it quickly, hiding behind her wall of privilege. "Malik!" a guest exclaimed. "Tell us about your remarkable journey." As Malik shared pieces from his past, Jenna's facade cracked just a little. He spoke of his mother, a veteran who worked tirelessly to provide for others, turning their struggles into empowerment, a spark of hope igniting her dull perception. "You think you know struggle? My mom taught me that resilience was more important than any title." His voice trembled slightly, honesty pouring out as the guests leaned in closer. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The mood shifted as everyone silenced. Jenna's heart raced as she watched Malik's recounting connect him directly to this crowd, a procession of hearts linking like a fragile web. His words pierced through Jenna's icy veneer, and suddenly, she was confronted. He was everything she had overlooked in her quest for stature. Sudden memories of her neglected sister burst into focus. Moments of laughter shared in their childhood, wrapped up in sticky ice cream and hope, now overshadowed by Jenna's relentless pursuit of status. A knot twisted in her stomach. Then, an unexpected outcry rang through the room, and time seemed to freeze. A guest shouted, questioning Jenna's vision, her standards, how they now felt based on Malik's honesty. Silence followed, thick and electric. The atmosphere crackled with potential confrontation between Jenna's facade and the raw truth placed before her. Would she uphold her kingdom, or could she realize that real connection lay outside the manicured lawns and perfectly curated lives? The moment hung heavy, and as she turned to meet Malik's steadfast gaze, the question lingered in the air: was it time to change her story? As the room held its collective breath, Jenna felt a wave of panic surge within her. The swirling laughter and chatter dulled, replaced by the drumming of her heart. Wasn't this her party? Her kingdom? Yet she was on the precipice of something much larger than herself. Malik's eyes, steady and warm, pierced through the tumult of her thoughts. For the first time in years, she felt seen not for her designer dress or the accolades she flaunted, but for the woman she had managed to shut away inside. A fleeting image of herself as a child, carefree and genuine, flickered in her mind. Racing around the yard with her sister, unburdened by the expectations that now felt like shackles. Jenna's voice came out tentative, surprising even herself. She took a step forward, the quintessential queen suddenly vulnerable. Each step felt like a leap through the fortifications she had built over the years, each one threatening to hold her back. "You inspire us," she finally said, her voice shaking but determined. "Your story, it's powerful." The words felt foreign on her tongue, like the thinnest veil separating who she was now from who she once was. As she spoke, Jenna noticed subtle shifts in her guests, some nodding their heads, while others wore expressions of confusion. Malik's face softened. He stepped closer to her, the space between them charged with possibility. "Thank you? That means a lot, especially coming from someone like you." His tone was warm, but there was an edge in understanding that Jenna was more than someone just trying to play the part of gracious host. A soft murmur spread through the crowd, and for the first time, she truly felt exposed. Their judgment was still there, but it had shifted. It was now a simmering curiosity, perhaps a glimmer of respect. Something in Jenna stirred, a spark of rebellion against the pristine facade that had come to define her. "Jenna, may I?" Malik began, hesitating slightly. "Speak to you privately?" The room buzzed with curiosity as he gestured toward the quieter corner of the porch. Jenna fought against the instinct to retreat. She took a deep breath and nodded, surprising herself again. With Malik leading the way, Jenna followed, feeling the cautious eyes of her guests trailing them. As she stepped into the shadow of an old oak tree, the chill of the impending evening air wrapped around them. "I appreciate your honesty back there," Malik said, his voice steady. "It takes courage to admit you're even interested in someone else's truth." Jenna swallowed hard. "I struggle with that." The words escaped her mouth before she had a chance to fortify herself with other defenses, and the truth fell between them like a fragile truce. "Struggle is a part of life, Jenna. And facing it, well, it's where growth begins. You don't have to keep pretending." He smiled gently, and Jenna found herself relaxing slightly. For the first time, there was no pretense, just raw, unfiltered exchange. "What if I want to change?" she whispered, the admission feeling like a confession. The question hung like the evening mist, heavy yet liberating. Malik's smile widened, and Jenna felt hope flutter in her chest. Could she step away from the life she had built to embrace something deeper? "Then do it," he said softly. "Start by listening. Listening to others and most importantly yourself." The moment stretched, inviting a choice Jenna hadn't anticipated. Behind them, the laughter of the party felt distant, yet the approaching silence held a promise. It was a challenge thrown down, one that would demand more than her designer dress and perfect lawn. As their eyes locked once more, Jenna felt the weight of her past lifting. But still, uncertainty swirled. Had she just found a path to something real, or was she teetering on the edge of a precipice? But before she could voice the doubt that clawed at her heart, Malik's expression shifted. A new intensity glimmered in his gaze as he leaned closer. "Jenna, there's something you need to know, something about who I really am and what I stand for." The air grew thick with anticipation as Jenna's heart raced. What was he about to reveal? What truth could shake the very foundations of their newfound connection? Jenna held her breath, caught between the warmth of Malik's sudden closeness and the chill of uncertainty creeping back into her thoughts. The world around her faded away, the party's laughter becoming a mere whisper in her ears. There was only Malik's gaze, intense and alive. "What I really am, it's not just a success story," Malik finally said, his voice low but clear, saturating the space between them with gravity. "It's also about the struggles I've faced, the pain that shaped me." Her heart raced, each beat echoing in her chest. Jenna felt the air thicken. Suddenly this wasn't just an awkward moment in a beautiful party. It was about authenticity versus appearance, truth versus the carefully curated image she projected. "What do you mean?" she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. She wanted to reach out, to reassure him, yet she remained frozen, the vulnerability of the moment captivating her. Malik shifted, his posture relaxed yet charged with urgency. "I grew up in a neighborhood where dreams were often overshadowed by despair. My family struggled. Poverty wasn't just a word, it defined our reality. I had to fight for opportunity, fight for respect. Every achievement has come at a cost." Jenna felt a rush of emotion swelling within her. She thought of her own sheltered life, of the privileges she often took for granted, the applause that came so easily. Hearing Malik's struggles made her feel raw. People see the success now, the suit and the company, but they don't see the boy who got up every time he fell. The one who learned that resilience is often cultivated in the face of adversity. He paused, and Jenna sensed the weight of his past, an anchor that shaped him as much as his dreams. I wanted to prove that you can rise above it all, Jenna. But in doing that, I sometimes forget what it means to just be real. I've tried to help others by sharing my story, but it's hard. His eyes bore into hers, and Jenna felt her own walls beginning to crumble. You aren't just a beautiful host, Jenna. I know there's more to you beneath the surface. It's the same struggle, isn't it? The facade versus the truth. For the first time, Jenna met her own reflection in his honesty. She felt the emotional floodgates opening, a tide of regret and yearning for connection. I've felt trapped, she admitted, her voice cracking. Stuck in a role that everyone expects me to play. Behind the smiles, I wonder, is this all there is? Malik, didn't he flinch? You don't have to stay there. We can redefine ourselves together. Once we dare to step away from our roles, there's a chance for something real. His words poured into her like sunlight breaking through a darkened sky. Hope flickered brighter within her, igniting a longing for authenticity that had been buried under layers of expectation. But just as Jenna began to imagine a new path, Malik's expression shifted again, shadowing with uncertainty. But I need you to know something else. He hesitated, glancing back at the party, then back at her. I've made some choices to get where I am, and they're not pretty. There are consequences to what I did. Jenna felt her heart drop. What do you mean? It's complicated, and I worry that my past could threaten this moment. What we're building right now. His voice trailed off, leaving a haunting silence between them. Fear gripped her as she ventured, can we still move forward even if the past pulls at us? His gaze sharpened, the weight of the moment heavy on them both. That's the challenge, isn't it? To step forward in spite of the past? But it's a choice you must be ready to make too. Jenna swallowed hard, the uncertainty lingering like fog. Did she truly want to step into a new life, or was she standing on the edge of another abyss? Every question felt like a breathless dare, each one pulling her deeper into uncharted territory. As her heart raced, they both felt the air thrum with anticipation, thick and overwhelming. What truth lay ahead? What choices would they face together? Would the revelation serve to unite them or drive them apart? Jenna's mind whirled as Malik's words hung heavy in the air. She could see the flicker of fear in his eyes, and it mirrored her own. Would the shadows of his history darken the light they were beginning to share? What kind of choices? She pressed, the desire for clarity pushing through her confusion. He hesitated, his gaze shifting again, the weight of 1,000 unsaid words pressing down. I've been involved in things I want to say they were necessary, but maybe they weren't the right kind of necessary. His brow furrowed, and Jenna could sense the struggle behind his stoic demeanor. Sometimes I did what I had to, you know. To survive, to make it. But it's hard to reconcile that with who I want to be today. Jenna nodded slowly, her empathy swelling. She understood the notion of compromising one's principles, having seen it play out in those around her. Yet the truth of Malik's past felt like a shadow that might swallow her whole. Malik's expression softened, and he reached out, his fingers brushing against hers. You deserve honesty, Jenna. I don't want to hide anything from you, not now that we're trying to build something real. She locked onto his gaze, feeling their connection deepen. I appreciate that, she whispered. But you're right about the past haunting us. I don't want to walk into uncertainty blindfolded. The lively chatter from the party felt distant now, as if Jenna and Malik existed in a separate universe, filled with tangled emotions and precarious choices. She felt her heart tug in two directions toward the boy who fought to become a man, and the fear of the unknown still lingering around them. What if Jenna searched for the words, mind racing? What if your past holds you back? What if it keeps us from really accessing the future you've envisioned? Malik inhaled sharply, his gaze piercing through her pretenses. Then it means it's something I have to face. I can't let the fear of what's behind me dictate what's ahead. You're brave enough to see me for who I am now. I should be strong enough to let go of who I was. His resolve kindled a fire within Jenna. Christine, her childhood friend, had once told her that acknowledging your flaws was the first step towards finding true freedom. Maybe we can help each other, Jenna proposed, her voice more confident now. Maybe by confronting our fears together, we can climb higher. Malik smiled, relief flooding his features. That's it. Together. Lean on me. We want to let our fears claim our identities. But even in that moment of connection, something nagged at Jenna's consciousness. The burden of unasked questions loomed. But what if your choices come back to haunt you? What if people turn against you because of what you did? Malik's expression hardened slightly. Then we deal with it when it comes. I can't live in fear of ghosts from the past. I want to focus on the man I'm becoming. Jenna contemplated his words, grappling with her own baggage. She had built her life on expectations, none of which truly belonged to her. The thought lingered that maybe both she and Malik were reaching for something far greater than either understood. The ambience of the party, once vibrant and warm, now felt suffocating. The thrill of new possibilities crackled between them, yet so too did the hovering specters of their choices. Just then, the music shifted, and laughter erupted nearby, momentarily breaking their intense bubble. Malik glanced toward the din, and an idea sparked in Jenna's mind. What if we take a break from this scene? Just for a moment? We could step outside or find a quieter spot. He regarded her thoughtfully, then nodded decisively. Yes, let us get some air. I think we need to confront the truth fully. And perhaps discover what lies beyond it. As they navigated through the crowd, Jenna felt her heart beat faster with a blend of hope and trepidation. What awaited them outside the party's embrace? Would revealing their truths strengthen their bond or serve as a wedge? Taking a shaky breath, she decided she was ready to discover what lay ahead, even if it took them into the dark places of their pasts. Just as they reached the door, Jenna stopped. Malik, yes? He asked, concern etching his brow. Are you sure we're ready for this? His gaze met hers, steady and resolute. If we're not, we'll figure out together. Because what lies ahead might just redefine everything. And with one last glance over her shoulder, Jenna stepped through the door with Malik uncertain of what awaited them, but resolute in one thing: they would face it together. Yet a shiver ran down her spine as a figure caught her eye across the room, watching intently. Who was that, and how did they connect to Malik's past? The cool night air hit Jenna like a splash of water, refreshing and sharp, pulling her from the swirl of emotions inside the party. Malik stepped out beside her, his presence both comforting and intimidating. They found a somewhat secluded corner of the patio, away from the noise, where the sounds of laughter faded into muffled echoes. It's nice out here, Jenna said, trying to shake off the unease that still clung to her. The lights from the party glowed like stars, but their brightness felt dim compared to the heaviness in her heart. Malik leaned against the railing, looking out at the dimly lit street beyond. Yeah, it is. It's easier to breathe. He rested his hands, fingers clasped, as if preparing to confront a storm. They had stepped out to seek clarity, but the clouds of uncertainty loomed over them, as thick as ever. Can I ask you something? Jenna began, her voice small, but her determination rising. She needed to pry open the door Malik had just started to unlock. What happened? What choices did you make that still haunt you? Malik sighed deeply, the weight of his past surfacing in that small space between them. A lot of it has to do with the people I surrounded myself with. I got involved in some risky business deals, shady contacts. I thought I was being smart, just maneuvering through life. But it was wrong. He rubbed the back of his neck, frustration twisting his features. I hurt people, good people, because I was too caught up in my ambition. Jenna's heart tightened at his words. She saw Malik as a powerful force, admirable in his conviction. The thought of him hurting anyone felt foreign, but she could sense the remorse pouring out of him now. They didn't deserve it, Jenna, he continued, breaking off to shake his head. And now, even as I tried to change, I live with that guilt. I can't shake the feeling that it will always be there, lurking waiting for the moment someone calls me out on it. She stepped closer, their shoulders brushing, grounding herself in that moment. But look at you now. You're trying to make things right. Isn't that what matters? If we acknowledge our mistakes, it's the first step toward healing. Malik looked at her, his eyes flickering with gratitude and a hint of skepticism. But what if that's not enough? What if things come crashing down? What if someone you've hurt comes into our lives again? A distant laugh cut through the night air, reminding them they weren't alone in the world. Jenna reached for his hand, their fingers intertwining. Then we face it together. Just like we said, right? He squeezed her hand, offering a soft smile, the kind that spoke of comfort and a connection they both craved fiercely. You make it sound easy. It's not, Jenna admitted, feeling the weight of her own struggles next to his. But experiencing it together makes it lighter. You keep saying you want to become a better man. So do I. I want to break free from my own expectations, to discover who I really am. The vulnerability between them buzzed in the air, electric and alive. Just then, the figure she'd seen earlier edged towards the door, his silhouette stark against the light spilling into the outdoor space. Malik, who's that? She whispered, her confidence faltering as she pointed toward the figure. It was a man, tall and imposing, his gaze fixed intensely on them. Malik turned sharply, tension flooding his face. I don't know, but it feels like trouble. Jenna's heart raced as she felt the atmosphere thicken. What did this newcomer want? Did he have ties to Malik's troubled past? She stepped closer to Malik, their hands still locked, ready to face whatever was about to unfold. Do you want to confront him? She asked, her throat tight with fear and curiosity. Malik's eyes narrowed. If he's here for me, then we'll deal with it. Together. And with those words, Jenna felt the resolve swell within her. Whatever came next, they were in this fight side by side. But as the man took a step closer, Jenna couldn't shake the gnawing fear of what revelations might await them. The man stepped into the glow of the patio lights, revealing a face Jenna hadn't seen in years. Marcus. Her stomach twisted. He was an old friend, someone she had lost touch with after diving deep into her own troubled waters. But the glint in his eyes now was far from friendly. Jenna, he said, a hint of surprise flickering across his features as he took in the situation. And Malik. Didn't expect to see you both here. Malik stiffened beside her, his grip tightening on Jenna's hand. You know him? He whispered, searching her face for answers. Yes, sort of, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Memories rushed back, fun times, laughter, and then the sudden silence when life took different paths. But that was before Marcus's life spiraled out of control. The last Jenna had heard, he was wrestling with some serious problems, self-destructing in ways that made her heart ache in retrospect. Marcus stepped closer, an unsettling smile creeping onto his lips. What a small world, huh? You both looked cozy there. Didn't he expect to find someone like Malik in your circle? Jenna's heart raced as she processed his words. What do you mean? Malik remained inscrutable, but Jenna could see the storm brewing behind his calm facade. Well, just that, some choices can be questionable. But he shrugged, leaning against the railing. Guess you never really know who people are beneath the surface. They can surprise you. Malik took a step forward, shining a light on the intimidation that hung thick between them. And what's that supposed to mean? Jenna felt the urgency in Malik's voice, and tension crackled between them like charged air before a storm. You're not the only one with a past, Malik. Chasing money and status, there are consequences. Marcus's tone dropped to a conspiratorial whisper, almost taunting now. People don't just forget when you hurt them. Stop it, Jenna said, her voice trembling. She felt the weight of her own past pressing down on her chest, the fear of her own mistakes coming back to haunt her. What do you want? Marcus stepped back slightly but kept his intense gaze locked with Malik's. Just here to remind you both that no one escapes their past unscathed. Even if you two act like you've got it all figured out. Jenna felt Malik's tension spike, but he remained silent, his eyes focused solely on Marcus. She sensed a battle brewing between them, one that threatened to unravel everything they had just started to build together. "Don't you dare try and come for us," Malik finally said, his voice deep and steady. "We're not the same people anymore." "Are you sure about that?" Marcus shot back, a challenge hanging in the air. As Jenna watched the two men, a mix of dread and defiance surged within her. It wasn't just about the past. It was about their future, about healing and choices. "Whatever happened, it doesn't dictate who we are now," she joined in, her voice steadier than she felt. She stepped out in front of Malik, confronting Marcus. "You don't get to play judge here." A flicker of surprise danced across Marcus's face, perhaps even respect. But it didn't last. "All I'm saying is be careful. The past doesn't stay buried forever." With that cryptic warning, he turned and walked away, leaving Jenna and Malik standing in the dim light, hearts pounding, breaths shallow. "What the hell was that about?" Malik asked, his voice laced with frustration. "I don't know," Jenna admitted, feeling the gravity of the moment sinking in. "But he's right about one thing. We can't run from our pasts. Not if we want to move forward." Malik's eyes searched hers, the flicker of doubt battling against something heavier resolve. "Then let us face it together," he said quietly, determination growing in his voice. "Whatever comes next, we'll deal with it." But just then, the distant laughter from the party dimmed, and Jenna couldn't shake the feeling something else was looming. She squeezed Malik's hand tighter and whispered, "But what if we're not ready for that?" Before Malik could respond, another figure emerged from the shadows, and Jenna felt her heart drop. "What now?" The figure stepped into the light, and Jenna's gut twisted tighter. It was Lily, her cousin, a vibrant spirit with a knack for lighting up any room. But her presence now felt out of place amidst the tension. "Hey! You two, what's going on?" Lily's voice cut through the unease, her eyes darting between Marcus and Malik. She didn't notice the storm brewing between them, and Jenna wanted to scream for her to walk away. "Just catching up with an old friend," Jenna said, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. "You remember Marcus, right?" Lily's expression shifted, uncertainty creeping in. Sort of. It's been a while." Are you okay?" She looked concerned, sensing the electricity in the air. Jenna exchanged glances with Malik, who seemed to relax slightly with Lily's arrival. "Yeah, we're fine. Just, talking about old times." "Old times, huh?" Marcus interjected, looking at Lily with an amused smirk. "I was just reminding them about the past. It can be a tricky thing to dodge." Lily frowned, her attention melting from friendly to protective. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing to worry about," Malik replied sharply, stepping closer to Lily as if to shield her from Marcus's biting words. "Just a little friendly chit-chat." Jenna felt the walls closing in. She hated how easily Marcus slipped into his old role of provocateur, taunting them as if they were all pieces on his chessboard. "Let us just go back to the party," she said, desperation clawing at her voice. "It's getting late." But before they could turn away, Marcus laughed, a cold sound echoing through the night. "You can run away all you want, but your past is right behind you. It's a part of who you are, Jenna. There's no escaping that." Hurt smoldered in Jenna's chest, but she couldn't let it show. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Do I?" Marcus shrugged. "It's not just about what I know, it's about what you're scared of." "And what are you scared of, really? Losing all the progress you've made? Opening the door to those old wounds?" Jenna clenched her jaw. They were not just words. They were barbs, meant to stab at the insecurities she had worked so hard to bury. Malik's grip on her hand was tighter now, and she felt a warm surge of gratitude for his steady presence. "Enough," Malik said firmly, facing Marcus head-on. "Whatever you think you know, you're wrong. We're not your punching bags anymore." A challenge hung in the air, heavy and palpable. Jenna could sense that tension slithering back into the conversation. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown. Seconds ticked by, and Marcus scanned their faces, searching for cracks, possibly even weakness. "Well, time will tell," he said finally, a wicked gleam in his eyes as he turned to leave. "Just remember, It's often the things we hide that define us the most. Jenna felt her breath hitch as he vanished into the darkness, leaving behind his unsettling words and a thick fog of uncertainty. Jenna, are you all right? Lily asked, moving closer, concern etched on her face. I'm fine, Jenna replied, though it felt like a lie. With Marcus's words still lingering, she wasn't sure how to navigate her thoughts or feelings. The past was out there, roaming free, and it terrified her. Malik took a step back, creating space for all of them as the sounds of laughter from the party echoed again, vying for their attention. We should probably head back, he suggested quietly. Jenna nodded hesitantly, but dread pooled in her stomach. Yeah, let us go. But as they turned toward the party, the shadows behind them seemed to murmur, a warning of something darker stirring. Forcefully pushing past the creeping fear, she whispered to herself, this isn't over. How could they move on when the past was still lurking? As she caught Malik's eye, she wondered if they truly could face whatever came next or if the darkness would consume them both. The party pulsed like a living entity, the music seeping into Jenna's very bones as they stepped back into the crowded hall. Laughter bubbled all around, and people danced like nothing had happened. But Jenna felt like an outsider watching a film through a foggy lens, a barrier between her and the world spinning joyfully ahead. Lily grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the snack table. Come on, let us get something to eat. You look like you need it. Jenna forced a smile, attempting to shake off the weight that had settled on her shoulders. Malik trailed behind her, his presence a silent promise of support even amid the chaos. But every step toward the snacks felt like moving through molasses, the heaviness of their earlier encounter still hanging in the air, thick and sticky. As she reached for a handful of chips, Jenna caught a glimpse of Marcus across the room, his laughter echoing with false brightness. He was chatting with a group, clearly the life of the party. A shiver ran down her spine at the thought of his words. There is no escaping that. They clung to her, like a cloud threatening rain. Lily tilted her head, catching Jenna's distant gaze. Earth to Jenna? You okay? You seem lost. Yeah, just thinking, Jenna replied, forcing herself to focus on her cousin. It's just been a long night. Malik stepped in closer, his brow furrowed with concern. You sure you want to stay? We could leave if you want. No, she didn't want that. Not yet. The shadows of the night still loomed, but turning away now felt like letting Marcus win. No, I want to be here. I just need a minute. Lily nodded, biting into a carrot stick. Okay, but you know we're in this together, right? If Marcus is trouble, I've got your back. Jenna appreciated Lily's spirit more than she could say. It had been ages since they connected like this, and it grounded her. Thanks, I really needed that. Suddenly, the air felt charged again. A group of partygoers rushed past them, laughing and spilling drinks. In that moment, Jenna noticed Malik's face tense, his eyes narrowing toward the doorway. She followed his gaze to find a new arrival step in. The laughter faded around her, as Jenna felt an eerie sensation wash over her. The woman who had entered had an undeniable presence. It was as if she commanded the attention of the room without even trying. Wearing a fiery red dress that clung perfectly to her curves, she exuded confidence, but there was something deeper, a hint of determination that sent a shiver of recognition racing through Jenna. Who is that? Jenna murmured, her heart accelerating. Malik barely glanced away from the newcomer as he replied, That's Kanisha. He faltered, eyes widening in realization. Wait, do you know her? Jenna shook her head, confusion swirling in her mind. No, but I know that name. She has worked miracles in this community, hasn't she? Everyone talks about her. The crowd grew buzzing chatter, and Jenna could feel something important shifting in the air. Kanisha moved gracefully, shaking hands and exchanging smiles, her laughter bright like sunlight cutting through fog. But as their eyes met for the briefest of moments, a flicker of recognition passed between them. Something familiar rippled through Jenna, something that stirred memories she thought she had buried deep. Jenna? Malik's voice pulled her from the haze. You look pale. What's going on? I don't know, she whispered, overwhelmed. I think I might have met her before. Before Malik could respond, Kanisha began to stride toward them, her confident demeanor unwavering. It was almost surreal how the tension in Jenna's chest balled up tighter. Would Kanisha recognize her? Jenna could barely breathe, the weight of the moment settling cold in her stomach. She felt like she was about to step off a cliff into the unknown. As Kanisha reached them, her smile widened. Jenna? Is that you? Jenna's world tilted, and she could only manage a breathless, "Yes, it's me." In that moment, the past didn't just linger, it rushed forward, ready to reveal its secrets. And Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a revelation that would change everything. What other truths were about to unfold? Jenna's heart raced in her chest as Kanisha's gaze locked onto hers, a mixture of excitement and fear swirling within her. It was one thing to know of Kanisha's impact in the community, but another to actually face someone who seemed to embody everything Jenna had secretly aspired to be. "Wow, it's been forever!" Kanisha exclaimed, her voice lifting above the music like a beacon. "You look amazing!" Jenna attempted to respond, but her throat was dry. "Thanks. You too, I mean the dress." The words tumbled out awkwardly, and she cringed internally. Kanisha laughed lightly, a sound both warm and invigorating. It was that laughter that eased some of the tension in Jenna's shoulders, allowing a tiny sliver of comfort to slice through her uncertainty. "I'm so glad to see you. I've heard so much about you. Your work, I mean. Everyone says you've got a real talent." "Me?" Jenna blinked, flabbergasted. Since when did anyone notice her work? It was as if the ground beneath her was shifting, altering the landscape of how she viewed herself. "Absolutely. I've always believed recognition should go beyond a few people," Kanisha continued. "It's important to celebrate everyone doing great things behind the scenes." Jenna felt something bloom within her, a recognition of her own worth. This was something Marcus could never take away from her. Malik, standing slightly behind her, seemed to be absorbing the moment himself. His eyes flickered between Jenna and Kanisha, curiosity written across his face. Jenna could feel the weight of his presence, his silent support pushing her to open up more. "Honestly, I've been struggling a bit lately," Jenna admitted, her voice barely more than a whisper. She didn't know where the honesty was coming from, but it felt good. "There's a lot happening in my life, and sometimes it feels like I'm just invisible." Kanisha's expression shifted, her bright smile softening. "You're not invisible, Jenna. You just need to remember who you are. You radiate potential." Jenna swallowed hard, a wave of emotion crashing over her. "I wish I could believe that." "Then let me help you believe it," Kanisha said, enthusiasm igniting her voice again. "I'm hosting a community event next week to connect people and celebrate success. I'd love for you to join me and share your story." The offer hung in the air, shimmering with possibilities. Jenna's heart raced. No one expected her to reach out, to be seen and heard among the leaders of her community. "You want me there?" "Of course. Everyone has a story worth telling." Kanisha nudged her playfully. "And you're not going to hide in the shadows anymore." Jenna felt a lump forming in her throat. "I don't know what to say." "Just say yes." Kanisha's eyes sparkled. "This is your chance to share what you've been working on and connect with others. Don't miss it." As Jenna contemplated the invitation, she felt vines of doubt inching up her spine. But they were accompanied by a feeling of readiness, of daring to push past what held her back. "Okay, yes. I'd love to," she finally replied, surprising even herself. A jubilant cheer erupted from both Kanisha and Malik, filling Jenna with a warmth that smoothed over the edges of her earlier anxieties. The room pulsed again with music and laughter, but Jenna felt different, like a weight had lifted. She had found her place in the storm. Just then, Marcus re-entered her field of vision, his smirk catching in her throat like bitter bile. How had he gotten back into her mind so easily? She faced Kanisha again, ready to shake off fears that had lingered far too long. "I've let him hold power over me for too long. Let us change that," Kanisha said, her voice fierce. The evening surged around them, and Jenna felt a sense of hope blossom within her. Perhaps change was unfolding right before her eyes. But as the crowd let out a cheer, a knot twisted in her stomach again. What if she faltered? What if the past isn't just in the shadows but also in the light? Just as those daunting thoughts bubbled to the surface, Kanisha glanced towards the doorway, her expression shifting to one of caution. Wait, we have company. Jenna turned to see who had entered, heart pounding with a different kind of fear. What unexpected surprises lay in wait, and who or what would step back into her life now? The doorway revealed a figure Jenna hadn't seen in years, her old mentor, Margaret. The room fell silent as the older woman entered, exuding an aura that demanded respect. A flurry of memories flooded Jenna's mind, the warmth of Margaret's encouragement during her early career, the late nights spent sharing dreams, and of course, the painful departure when Jenna chose to chase her superficial ambitions over her own values. Jenna felt her heart race. This was the moment, a collision of past and present, a final stitch in her journey toward authenticity. Margaret's eyes scanned the room, finally settling on Jenna, her brow knitting in thought. That familiar spark of recognition ignited between them, igniting the embers of old wounds. Jenna's stomach twisted. Would it be a moment of confrontation, or perhaps, reconciliation? Jenna, Margaret said, her voice rich with emotion, there you are. I've been looking for you. A wave of warmth washed over Jenna. I didn't expect to see you here, she stammered, wondering if it was too late to reclaim the connection they once shared. I didn't expect to see you thriving either, Margaret replied, a gentle smile breaking through her serious demeanor. I heard about your work at the charity. You're making waves. The words felt like sunlight piercing through a dark cloud. Really? You heard about it. That means a lot coming from you. Margaret stepped closer, her demeanor shifting to one of understanding. I never stopped believing in you, Jenna. I just wanted to remind you that you have the ability to create meaningful impact. You don't have to hide behind your life of luxury. Was this a challenge? Or an invitation? I'm trying, Jenna said, realizing just how much that simple admission resonated with the girl who used to run freely in her sister's yard. It felt honest, raw. Well, it sounds like you're ready to embrace who you are, Kanisha chimed in, her excitement palpable. Join me next week. The world needs to hear your truth. Jenna looked back and forth between the two women. Her heart swelled with the realization that this was her moment to step into the light, not just for herself but for all those whose stories were often left untold. Okay, Jenna said, confidence breaking through the surface. I'll be there. Another wave of cheers erupted from around her, her friends and family lighting up the room with support. But Marcus's words slithered back into her mind, echoes of fears that had no place in her future. They were silenced by the surging warmth in her chest, something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Malik stepped forward, wrapping his arm around her shoulder, the protective gesture grounding her. He locked eyes with her, the silent understanding flashing between them that said, "We're in this together." Jenna could see the party behind her, filled with joy, laughter, and connection. She could now feel that she belonged there. She lifted her chin, staring into the bright lights of the space, letting everything fall away. She was done with hiding, she was done being defined by the chains of her past. Recognizing this truth sent a rush through Jenna like a summer storm breaking the heat. She didn't need to please anyone anymore. This was her life, her story, and she had the power to own it, to share the beauty and pain, to shed the facade that had weighed her down for so long. As the music pumped and laughter ebbed and flowed, Jenna grinned brightly, feeling her heart swell. In that moment, surrounded by friends, allies, and newfound connections, she understood that she was ready for whatever came next. The past could hold its weight, but she would not let it control her path forward, and as Margaret's proud smile shone upon her, it became crystal clear this was not just a farewell to the past. It was a roaring hello to the future, the one she would build on her own terms. Jenna stepped forward again, hand in hand with Malik, and together they stepped back into the radiant glow of the party, ready to embrace the life that awaited them. You need to subscribe now, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that unfold. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts like yours. Comment your reactions and feelings about Jenna's journey and her powerful transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because this is the moment to show your support for them. Don't wait not even one more second to share. These stories matter.